Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to Pakistan School Muscati Learning, and we are learning from our book Amazing Science Week 4, and I'm your teacher Mr. Dalit. Welcome to the science class students. This is the continuation of unit number 13, the earth. These goals are we'll review about the earth, moon and the phases of the moon. And today's notebook work is question number 5, choose the correct option. So let's get started students. Today, what is the earth? Do you know about the earth now? Yes. The sun and its 8 planets make up the solar system. The earth is one of the 8 planets that travel around the sun. It is the 5th largest planet of the solar system. The planets follow oval paths or orbits, so their distance from the sun is always changing. Sometimes it is near, sometimes it is far. As the shape of the earth, it is not absolutely round. It is geode. That means it is slightly flattened on the top and bottom. It is surrounded by the blanket of air called atmosphere. As we already discussed in unit number 6, that air consists of many gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and dust particles. As Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun and the only astronomical object known to harbor and support life. And Earth's surface is land, only 29% of the land, and 71 or 71% is covered with water, mostly by oceans, seas, gulfs, and other salt water bodies, but also by lakes, rivers, and other fresh water. Okay. Movement of the earth. Students, the earth is always spinning. It turns on its axis, which is an imaginary line passing through the north and south poles. It takes 24 hours to spin once on its axis. This movement of the earth is called rotation. Throughout the day, it appears that the sun is slowly moving from east to west. This is because the earth is spinning on its axis from west to east. The sun itself does not move. As you can see that the axis of the earth is not straight, it is slightly tilted at angle of 23.5 on its orbit. As well as turning on its axis, the earth also goes round the sun. It takes almost 365 days to go once around the sun. This movement is called revolution. During its revolution, sometimes North Pole is tilted towards the sun and sometimes South Pole is tilted towards the sun. Students, as the earth spins on its axis, the part of the earth which faces the sun has daytime and the part of the earth which is on the other side has night. And as it is tilted, that the axis is not straight, that is slightly tilted. So during its revolution, the part of the earth which is tilted towards the sun receives more light, so it is warmer, and it is summer in that part of the world. And the part of the earth which is tilted away from the sun receive less light, so it is colder. It is winter in that part of the world. And when both the hemispheres of the earth get almost equal amounts of light from the sun, is either spring or autumn. Constellations. On a clear night, you see thousands of stars in the sky. If you look carefully, you will see that groups of stars seems to make shapes. These shapes are called Constellations. Constellations have fixed shape. They have fixed position in the sky. In olden days, they helped travelers to find their way. If you know the shape of the constellation and its position in the sky, you can find it easily. The Big Bear. High in the sky, in the northern part of the world, it is possible to see a constellation called the Big Dipper. It is made up of 7 stars. You can count. It, the lower 2 stars, that is this part, the lower 2 stars, okay, are called pointer stars. They always point to a bright star called the pole star or the north star. Okay, the north star is always in the northern part of the sky, directly over the north pole. Okay, so the Big Dipper appears to move around the pole star. Now population and land. Student, if you look at the globe, you will see blue part, which are the oceans, seas, rivers and lakes, and the brown and green parts are the plains, mountains and deserts. We see that almost 1/3 of the globe consists of land and 2/3 consists of water. So, what about the population, students? Most people live on plains, river valleys and sea coast as these areas are fertile. Crops, vegetables and fruit can be grown there. But only few people live in mountains or desert because it is either too cold or too hot there. Not much grows there. Now it comes to the moon. Students, the moon is the Earth's natural satellite. It is about 384,000 kilometers away from the Earth. It has no air and no signs of life. The moon rotates very slowly. It rotates one in the same time as it takes to complete one orbit around the Earth. This means that the same side of the moon is always facing the Earth. The surface of the moon is dry and hard, and it is covered with dust. It has large spits called craters. Phases of the moon. Students, the moon revolves around the earth once every lunar month. Lunar month means from full moon to new moon. So when the side of the moon is lit by the sun faces the earth, we see full moon. This that when the moon is on the side of the earth nearest to the sun, we see thin slice of moon. This is called the new moon. Sometimes we see no moon at all. This section of the reflecting surfaces of the moon that we see from the earth are called the phases of the moon. I hope that you enjoy learning, students. Now we come to the today's work. Today's work is about question number 5. Choose the correct option. These are the questions. The shape of the earth is dash. Round, flat, geoid. Yes, it is geoid. The imaginary line that passes through the north and south pole of the earth is called axis, equator, chord. Yes, it's axis. The movement of the earth on its axis is called evolution, revolution, rotation. Yes, it is rotation. The number of days that the earth takes to make one revolution is, revolution means complete orbiting around the sun. It takes 365 days. The moon is dash kilometer away from the earth, 184,000, 284,000 or 384,000. Yes, the moon is 384,000 kilometers away from the earth. So that will be all for today's students. Now we just recap that what we have done. Students, Now we know that Earth is our home planet, Earth the fifth largest planet in the solar system. We get day and night because the Earth spins on an imaginary line called its axis. The axis of the Earth is not straight. As the Earth is moving around the Sun, that causes the seasons to change, and it is spinning around its axis that causes day and night. Constellation is group of stars. As Earth is orbiting around the Sun and is spinning to its axis, there is a natural satellite called Moon orbiting around the Earth throughout the lunar month. As Moon doesn't have its own light, it is a reflection from the Sun. Just we are seeing the Moon from the Earth. Some peoples, mostly peoples live on the fertile areas, and only few peoples are living in the deserts. That's not much grows there. As the moon is orbiting around the earth, and sometimes it is faces the moon, sometimes it is faces the earth. So that's movement cause the change in phase of the moon that we see from the earth. As you can see, that is the view from the earth, from new moon to the full moon. As we already draw question number 4 in our notebook, I will help you again to review this. That first you have to make the oval, then sun, and the shape of the earth, and then you can see that the how seasonal changes occur throughout the year. When the north is tilted towards the sun, we have summer. When north is tilted away from the sun, we have winter. And when it is on hemisphere, that is either autumn or spring. So that will be all for today, students. Hope you enjoy learning. Don't forget to revise the lesson again. Have a very nice and blessed day. If anything is missing from the unit number 13, the earth, you can copy from your daily work. Allah Hafiz.